In a world of movie references flying over his head, one man will finally watch them. This is the Matt and Blonde Show movie review.
This week's movie is the 2020 parody thriller The Hunt, in which an internet conspiracy theory about a powerful female CEO turns real after she's fired for texting her friends about hunting deplorables at her remote estate. From movie picker Michael, a violent satire overlooked during the COVID shutdown, this may be an example of the filmmaker's left-leaning views producing a film that makes the right look better. As always, your review and your rating.
Okay, so I did enjoy watching this. I had some good laughs, truly good laughs. And it had some flavors of Starship Troopers, which I really liked, like the ultra violence and kind of like bad CGI form, and I like that a lot. But, and this is a big but, my instinct was that this was some kind of leftist cash grab, and I looked into it, and alas, like the writers and directors, all leftists. So I think that they made content that they thought would appeal to right wingers. And then they did like a baseline level of self-effacement that they thought would kind of let them off the hook a little bit. But I could just tell that their heart wasn't really in it, you know, because they don't really understand conservatives. Every conservative was some dumb hick. Every one. Even the protagonist.
Well, was she dumb though? I mean, she won.
She was a hick.
Yeah.
Anyway, but like ignoring the creators, I had a fun time watching it. It was an okay movie. 3 out of 5.
How do you think I received it?
I thought you would like it.
You are correct.
You did?
I really loved this movie.
Yeah.
And, you know, I suppose there might be some nefarious motives at play or something like that. But, you know, I'm taking it. I'm watching it as it's presented. Yeah. I'm just taking it at face value. I'm not assuming any kind of motive or anything like that. What I loved about this, I actually thought it was excellent parody of Everybody, which is pretty difficult to achieve. Now, to your point, like, was it super fair in its representation of conservatives? Maybe not, but I don't know that it was perfectly fair in its representation of leftists either. It's like nuggets of truth that were explored really well. And as I was watching it, I was asking myself, are they making fun of the left here, or are they making fun of the right? And then I realized, well, it's kind of both, and they're actually doing both pretty well. And some of the situations in the writing and the scripting that I really appreciated. That gas station scene, that mom and pop gas station scene where they kill them all, and then the guy has a wedding ring. Don't worry about him. He probably uses the N-word openly on Twitter, so it's fine. And then they're in the dugout and talking about not making AIDS jokes and not using gendered language. I just loved the debate, like trying to be ethically pure on matters of microaggressions while murdering people is something I could absolutely, we're like an inch away from that currently.
Yeah, totally.
So I thought it was really well done. The scene where Don and Crystal are executing everybody in the dugout, and the Arrow girl is like the last survivor, and they're getting answers out of her. Do you think that you should be given special treatment just because you're a girl and she thinks about it? No, and they'll just blow her head off. And it was just a very like equitable execution.
Yeah,
is exactly what we're headed towards. I loved that scene, and then the parody on the right. I mean, I have to. The character of Gary hit a little too close to home, talking about, well, I have a podcast. I've been exposing these people. That's why they're after me.
I was like, ooh.
All right, Gary, I see you. I understand how it is. And then the scene with the refugees on the train, the line about, well, no, Gary, they have a baby. Come on, they're not actors. No, there are crisis babies. And that was there were so many good lines like that. Crisis babies was maybe the best line.
There are crisis babies. Yeah.
And then I loved the character of Don for the same reason, not necessarily for his scripting, although that was fine, but just because of what he represented. And it was never really resolved. Like, he's a double agent. He's alleged to be working for the Hunters, and Crystal kills him under that premise, but she doesn't get the answer in the end. Was Don actually a Fed, so to speak, quote unquote Fed in this situation, or a double agent at least? We don't really know. And that's why I appreciated what he represented too, is like, just from the quote unquote right wing perspective, everyone is assumed to be like some kind of backstabbing double agent Fed, whatever. Mm-hmm. And he kind of was, while still normally I like tying things up, but in that context, you kind of want to leave it a mystery for exactly that purpose, which I loved. I thought the action, first of all, the pace of the movie, constantly bitching about how everything's too slow. I mean, this was just people's heads being blown off in the first 5 minutes, which I really appreciated. The action itself was very good. I talk about in the review here. Normally, I'm not a big fan of chick fights. But since it was chick on chick and really well performed, cool shots, it was an athletic performance, and they were fighting in the kitchen, which is exactly where feminine combat belongs, right there in the kitchen. I loved that scene. And even though I loved the humor and the action, there are also serious themes that I want to emphasize, and I think I'd be selling the movie short if I didn't talk about them. This maybe I can get you to appreciate the story of the jackrabbit and the box turtle, which of course is it sounds like the tortoise and the hare. Finish the race slow and steady. That's how you win. Just keep making progress until she gives it that twist at the end. Well, then the jackrabbit showed up and murdered the box turtle's whole family and ate his dinner.
Yeah.
And that's because the jackrabbit always wins. And Don says, well, what are we? Are we the jackrabbit or are we the box turtle? In the end, she kills Athena and the jackrabbit appears. And I loved that metaphor for exactly the sort of themes that we discuss on this show. Sure, like it's good to make slow, steady progress and it's good to follow the rules. But in the end of the day, wouldn't you rather be the jackrabbit and have the jackrabbit's capabilities, but the discipline to master and to apply them with proper limitation than to be limited like the box turtle? And what happens if the terms of the race are totally unfair? Like the race that Crystal was in, being abducted and they tried to kill her many times. Is she supposed to obey the rules of the race, even though the race is fundamentally unfair? Does she owe the hunters any sort of rule-following kindness in defeating them?
Of course not, yeah. Really
cool themes there that I thought were just interesting to think about, but her performance in delivering the whole story was really good too. Lastly, I really appreciated thinking about all the, I don't know, who is the real whatever in this movie? Who's the real conspiracy theorist? Is it the hunted for believing that Athena actually wanted to kill them in the first place? Or is it Athena and the hunters who possibly got the wrong crystal?
Right.
Who's responsible for the origin of the conflict? Is it the hunted because they ruined someone's career based on flawed information? Or is it Athena and the hunters for actually enacting what the hunters insisted was happening all along? And who's responsible for all the death? They both played critical roles in initiating and escalating to the point of mass killing. And I think there's just some good deep points there about villainizing opponents. And I'm not saying that you should never do that. I think that we're a country divided for good reason, and we should be clear about the values that are at stake. But the point that's illustrated there is if you go searching for conflict, you are going to find it. You just need to make sure that conflict is in fact the facts behind it are correct and it is justified. But everybody involved here was kind of looking for a way to villainize the other, and they got the fight with the other. Was it justified? Maybe. But just understand that when you move in that direction, that's the direction you get. The only thing I could say negatively, and it's not even a point that I hold, but I could see someone criticizing the movie for this reason. Everybody just dying at lightning pace. It's not the greatest movie for, say, character development, because as soon as you're getting to know a character, their face gets blown off.
I'm kind of fine with that in this instance, like the way that it was stylized. I didn't have a big problem with that.
And I actually thought the main characters were plenty compelling to hold my interest. I thought that Crystal's character was great. I thought Athena's character was great. Dawn and some of the supporting characters. I don't feel like I needed more character story to make this movie a fantastic piece of entertainment. So for me, it was a 5 wiki no doubter. It made me laugh and it made me think. It was clever and it was critical with a rare awareness of a wide range of political perspectives.
You gave Blade Runner a 1.
Blade Runner is one of the worst movies ever made.
And you gave The Hunt a 5.
Yes. And part of the reason I love this movie so much too is because I was expecting it to kind of suck. And so it was a surprise great movie for me.
Maybe that was it. Okay.
It gets maybe a bonus wiki for that.
We love you. You're very special.
And that might be the first back-to-back 5 wiki I've ever awarded. I don't know if I've ever done that in the history of the segment.
What was last week?
Coming off of Josie Wales
Josie
last
Wales,
week.
That's right. That was a great movie.
Now let's see what the audience thinks in the early vote. People like it. 4 and 5 wikis are 60% of the early vote. So it's if you haven't seen it, I would definitely recommend it. It was one that took me by surprise.
I don't get you, man.
The next week, maybe you'll get me because, of course, it's my nominations that were up for the vote for next week's movie, and the dinosaurs of Jurassic Park barely edged out Clint Eastwood and Gran Torino.
I've never seen it.
Well, you've never seen the original Jurassic Park?
It's been I haven't seen it since I was a young child. I have basically no memory of it. So it's...
All right. Well, maybe my list will come back another day, but for now, Jurassic Park is the pick. And it's timely in the news because Laura Dern just came out and talked about how inappropriate her role in Jurassic Park was because she was 23. And the guy, what's the name of the actor who played the main dude opposite her in Jurassic Park? His name's Sam or something. Was the actor's name Sam or is the character's name Sam? Can't remember. But the guy is 43 and she was 23 and they have kind of a romance in the movie. I gotta say, Laura Dern, I'm not trying to take shots, but the fact that Laura Dern was 23 in Jurassic Park, I would have guessed at least 30. That was a rough 23.
She's got another one of those chicks that has a funhouse mirror face.
Well,
real long in the nose.
We'll talk about Laura Dern's early onset aging, I suppose. Next, I guess my point is nobody watched Jurassic Park and saw the two of them together and thought that is a way age disproportionate couple. They can't be together.
God, you're right. She looks like shit. She was 23 in this?
Suppose that's what I saw on Twitter today, which I find unbelievable.
Well, he looks 35 and she looks 40. So I don't...
Yeah, she might look older. After that, we have a fresh list of nominations for June from listener Kyle. The nominees are Any Given Sunday, a football movie for Blonde. I can't wait. RoboCop, The Jerk, A Few Good Men, Frailty, Boogie Nights, 8mm, which is a Nick Cage movie, is it not? 8mm, you seen that one?
What is it?
I think. Maybe I'm mistaken. Psycho completes the list. Or, of course, you can reject the list and vote for it.
It is a Nick Cage movie. Oh,
all right. Well, there you go. You can also reject the list and vote for a randomly selected top-rated movie instead. And as a reminder, if you would like to read my movie reviews, comment how wrong I am, submit your own rating, vote for the next movie, and sign up for the chance to be the movie nominator for the month. The one and only place to do that is in my weekly movie review column, linked in the description and over on the homepage of the website. That is mattchristiansenmedia.com.